Welcome to StreetSmart Live. My name's Gordon Holmes. I'm the founder and today's host. Today we have a very exciting show that I've been waiting for, but before I introduce today's special guest, I'd like everybody to take a look at our disclosures. Typical, indicating that the companies have paid a participation fee. So hopefully you can all take a look at that. All right, ready to introduce our special guests. It's a real honor and pleasure for me to introduce a good friend, Frank Holmes, who I've known for a while. In 1989, Frank bought the controlling interest in U.S. Global Investors. It's a publicly traded stock with the symbol GROW, and became the go-to destination for investors seeking exposure to gold, natural resources, emerging markets, and more through mutual funds. In 2006, Frank was selected as the Mining Fund Manager of the Year by the Mining Journal. In 2011, he was named U.S. Metals and Mining Top Gun for Brendan Wood International, a distinguished firm in Canada. His award-winning CEO blog, Frank Talk, is one of the first to appear in the world of finance. More than 40,000 investors subscribe to his weekly blog in the Investor Alert. Frank is a regular commentator on many of the financial networks that I'm sure you've all seen on CNBC, CNN, and Fox News. He's also a regular on Kitco. He frequently travels, or was prior to COVID, and it that is the ETF airline sector. Frank is also a co-portfolio manager with Ralph Altius in the Gold and Precious Metals Fund and the World Precious Minerals Fund. Without further ado, Frank, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Gordon. And the two Holmes brothers from different mothers story, but Gordon and I were commenting that we were concerned regarding these junior minings where World Precious Minerals continues to make investments in exploration development, betting on great CEOs, and the sort of markets have morphed, and how do they get discovery? How do they get a brand? And we've gone through our due diligence, and we've taken this risk and putting our capital for our fund shareholders into it. And we thought we would sort of collaborate to try to help out these companies, which we believe are just superstar stocks that are in our portfolio, for you to learn and discover why we like them. Each of these companies are going to make a unique presentation, and I hope you like this sort of format. And I thank all these companies, in addition to Gordon's team at StreetSmart, for helping us put this all together. In COVID no longer has basically prevented us to have conferences and travel. However, YouTube and has really become a new channel for branding, for awareness, and for a lot of young investors looking for how do they pick these junior mining stocks. So let's the show begin, Gordon.
Sounds great.
Good day, everyone. And here is US Global's first sort of debut of the virtual Junior Mining Expo, partnering with Gordon Holmes at Streetwise Reports. We're trying to help junior mining companies get that discovery, that price discovery, while they're busy trying to get the exploration discovery. And with that, we wanted to turn around to create a platform for you as a company that are out there that we take the time and effort to invest in, and investors like you're listening right now, that we go through this process. The 5 pillars is a great one that was put out by Visual Capitalist. It's an excellent sort of format. We like to use the 5 M's, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the 5 pillars is just a classic way of analyzing before you make an investment in one of these companies. So one of the things we screen for, is it a closeologist? Is that person's just consumed with being hyping you up, saying, don't worry, we're close to, we got elephant property near such and such discovery. That's high risk. Then there's the pump and dumper that knows they've got a decent property, but really they're just trying to blow up the valuation of their stocks to sell their shares. They're not interested in developing an asset. And then you get the trend chaser. The trend chaser, it was ever hot. Copper one day, palladium the next, gold the next, vanadium, it doesn't matter. And then you have the commodity collector. They invest in all these different commodities. They have like the elements table, but the problem there is they never really get something seriously done. We screen all these things out, and we look for that type of lifestyle executive that just tries to raise our take capital from us. You, the shareholder, come to our funds, and we put money into them. And what do they want to do? Have a nice lifestyle, or more expensive bottles of wine, etc. Well, we make sure we clean those characters out of our portfolio. And then the optimist geologist. The optimist geologist, there's so many jokes with. It's important to be an optimist, but the geologist has to really respect and appreciate other people's capital, and the path to profits is key for investors. So how markets have changed so dramatically with technology. What used to take 2 weeks for information to get distilled in the capital markets now is over in 2 hours. So this is a classic study by CIBC, by Barry Cooper, who's retired, but he went back and looked at hundreds of examples. And if any of these names show, these titles, these words show up in your headline, your stocks can fall what used to be from 10% to 30%, 50% if they have these titles. So we try to understand what those risks are when we're also making an investment. We can never stop what can be an exchange issue or an exploration issue, lack of success with expectations. But investors have to know what can really hurt the volatility and impact their investments. What's key for very healthy capital markets is price discovery. Price discovery needs a robust ecosystem, and that means you have to have retail minnows at the same time as you have the tunas and the barracudas and the whales and the killer whales and the sharks, and they're all that sort of robust ecosystem. Capital markets are very similar. And I'm really thrilled about seeing what's taken place recently, where we're seeing millennials coming in and discovering, buying junior stocks, exploration success, or ETFs have fallen like we've experienced with our JETS ETF. It really doesn't matter. We're just experiencing this new flow of funds, very, very important for the overall investment public. If you've not read this book by John Sawecki, The Wisdom of Crowds, on the importance of the price discovery, I highly recommend it. Before you get big institutional money, you have to have minnows. You have to have this sort of ecosystem. So Robinhood has been an incredible path for millennials jumping in, just like the 90s when I first moved to Texas and bought control of US Global. That time, the demographics were baby boomers. They discovered mutual funds and tech. Now we've got Robinhood investors, and they've discovered junior exploration companies up to Bitcoin companies and etc. So it's a very robust, dynamic market. And I think it's important that you're aware of who these Robinhood investors are and how they're such a game changer. We've also seen it from other competing brokerage firms, TD Waterhouse, Schwab, etc. All gone to no commissions to attract these young traders. Where are these millennials getting research? How are they discovering? Markets have changed. Research platforms have been cut way, way back with this called MiFID II regulations out of Europe. So where are they going? They're going to YouTube, just like you are. And they're going to podcasts. They're very active in listening to podcasts. As you can see, millennials turn to YouTube for gold buying lessons. They go to Kitco. You can see that's like when I talk about why gold could go to 4,000, 200,000 views would come through Kitco. And we look at Cambridge House Investments, which Jay's done a phenomenal job of building. Well, they have over 100,000 subscribers. Kitco has 181,000. And as you can see, just mining stocks, it has a smaller footprint, but it's growing. And that's where millennials are going to learn about these stocks. We ourselves have improved what we're trying to do to inform people and investors. And this is one of my favorite 2 minutes on why the CPI number could be conceived as being fake news, because the algorithm that says what inflation is, if we use the same algorithm when gold hit 850 in 1980, today inflation is 8%, not 1.4. So what's going on here and why this gold has been a great performer for the past 21 years? It's been positive 80% of the time. So Robinhood used to be able to give you the data, and it could show you the number of investors buying into your ETF, or as you can see here, buying Franco-Nevada, and you can see they were early buyers accumulating it, and these investors have made a lot of money owning it. Now at US Global, we have Ralph Aldis, has been with me for 30 years. He's the gold fund manager for World Precious Minerals and US Global's first no-load gold fund, Gold Shares. He has a master's degree in mineral economics, has a geology degree, and interesting enough, Ralph is also a CFA, and he kicks properties, visits these properties all over the world, and he's done an outstanding job, and he's vetted these companies. And what to me is interesting is that we're going to apply the PechaKucha model today. That is comprehensive and concise. PechaKucha has gone viral all over the world, 140 countries, 1,200 cities, 10,000 plus events, 130 presentations. Why so successful? Because it's very simple. 20 slides, 20 seconds a slide, 6.4 minutes, next presentation. So what I think you're going to get is an incredible experience today. You're going to learn about 10 companies that we have vetted, and we have gone through the life cycle of a mine. We have done everything we can to appreciate what we think is a great exploration development or property brownfield development or accelerating production profile company. And we apply the 5 M's, not the 5 pillars, even though they're a useful process. But you'll see the presentation today, all the companies will be similar. There'll be 4 slides for market cap, for management, for money, for minerals, and life cycle of a mine. And this is the quant way of looking at life cycle of a mine. Each of these cycles have different sets of risks, and we feel that there's just great exploration development risks that you're looking at. This is another way of looking at risk. Exploration is much greater risk, so you have to bet on the jockey. The greater the exploration risk, the greater and more important is the jockey that you're betting on. So thank you, everyone. I hope this is going to be very rewarding for you to learn more about these 10 companies which we have committed your funds into investing in, and you can, if you're interested, to explore these stocks individually. And now I'd like to turn it over to our first presenter.
I have 6 minutes and 40 seconds to show you why the team at Barksdale Resources is confident that we have the right assets that can deliver not only exploration success, but shareholder returns as well. Okay, so this is a PechaKucha style presentation, so I only have 20 seconds on each slide. And even though my time is short, I still hope to make plenty of forward-looking statements. So please make sure you give these disclosures a quick read. My name is Rick, and I'm the CEO at Barksdale, or perhaps in this format, you can call me the Chief Storyteller. My job today is to excite you about base metal exploration, about our project portfolio, and the catalysts that we have on our horizon. Barksdale has a market cap of $34 million Canadian and an enterprise value of around $27 million. We currently have a little over $7 million in cash on the balance sheet as a result of an oversubscribed financing which was completed in October. This should give us runway to complete all of the activities that I'm going to talk to you about today, including 2 drilling programs at our projects. We have a great group of sophisticated shareholders at Barksdale, including US Global. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Ralph. As well as Teck Resources and Osisko Gold Royalties. Management and board have about 7% of the stock, and I've personally built a 1 million share position over the past 3 years, and that has a cost base of around 45 cents Canadian. I've accumulated this position steadily over time as we've added various projects to our pipeline. And as you can see here, we are in the value creation phase of exploration, where discoveries are made, where deposits are defined, and where resources are ultimately brought to market. Our geographic focus is on the desert Southwest, which includes 2 key projects in southern Arizona, as well as 1 project in Sonora, Mexico. These projects are within close proximity to each other, being about a 6-hour drive apart. Recognizing the early signs of the next great copper cycle, Barksdale recently acquired an option to purchase 100% interest in the San Javier copper gold asset in Sonora, Mexico. As you can see here, the project has a significant oxide zone that outcrops at surface and has seen significant historic drilling, despite being in private hands for the past dozen years. The last owner focused on the wrong things and didn't do the best work. Our plan is to go in and start drilling out the higher grade zones while putting in place a proper geologic model. We think this will help increase the size and, ultimately, allow us to step away towards earlier stage exploration targets where we can apply these new learnings. And speaking of not doing the right things, the last operator didn't follow up on all the gold-rich intercepts that were encountered along the way. These are near-surface, oxidized gold intervals that look to be a separate pulse of mineralization. We have the most data at Cerro Verde, which will be our initial focus and the project that we'll drill first once we have our drilling permit and our community agreements in place. Once we figure out the ore controls at Cerro Verde, we'll be able to take those lessons learned and apply them towards earlier stage prospects such as Mesa Grande and La Trinidad, where previous work has already shown mineralization to be present. Moving north, I'd like to transition to the Patagonia district in Arizona, where we have our big projects. As you can see in the diagram, we are the second largest claim holder in a district anchored by South 32, a multi-billion-dollar Aussie diversified miner. The focus of our work here is on permitting, as we continue to push our Sunnyside and San Antonio projects towards the approvals they need to let us start drilling. Sunnyside is our anchor, as it's adjacent to a mine development project called Hermosa, which South 32 is advancing as a world-class zinc-lead-silver ore body. You can see it outlined in white. As you can see, it ends at the property boundary with Barksdale. We know that mineralization continues onto our ground based on historic drilling from the 1980s, which in fact were the discovery holes for the Taylor deposit next door. Some call this closology, but we call it sharing, as we control a piece of a world-class deposit. It's now on us to show the world exactly how much we have. If we head underground, the picture becomes a bit more obvious. As you can see, we have a very large porphyry in blue, sitting adjacent to a very large carbonate replacement deposit in red. The historic intercepts that we have show that the system continues onto our property and will likely continue back to the porphyry, which we believe is the heat source for the entire system. Once we get our permit from the U.S. Forest Service, we intend to fully test this gap zone that wraps around the porphyry, which will allow us to show the market exactly how much of the system we control. Can we prove up 10, 20, 50 million tons of potential resource? Well, we look to start drilling to prove up this potential late next year, so stay tuned. The other big project that we have in the Patagonia district is San Antonio, which is a drill-ready greenfield project. Similar to Sunnyside, where a large porphyry caused the formation of a skarn system, San Antonio sits adjacent to a historic mining camp where high-grade skarns were mined at the turn of the last century. We think San Antonio could be that causative porphyry that formed the system. The geophysics that have been done show the signature of a high-level porphyry sitting in a shallow position. We are currently permitting an 8 to 12-hole RC program that we hope to execute early next year. The prospect of making a blind discovery in a historic mining district is truly exciting, and we can't wait to test this target. We are working to deliver on a series of milestones and catalysts that began with drilling San Javier, will hopefully continue on with a discovery at San Antonio, and ultimately end with the delivery of our Sunnyside permit. If we can execute on these three work streams, it will certainly be an exciting year ahead. I know that I've only been able to scratch the surface here, but I hope that it's enough to pique your interest. If so, head to our website where you can not only find additional information, but you can sign up for a one-on-one meeting with myself or Terry Ann Welke, our VP of Communications. Thanks again for your time, and please stay tuned for more news from Barksdale Resources.
Good afternoon. I look forward to taking you through the story of Gran Colombia Gold. We're the largest gold and silver producer in Colombia, and we're celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. Over the last decade, we've produced more than 1 million ounces of gold at an average grade of 13.7 grams per ton from our high-grade Segovia operations. Following our second quarter results, Frank Holmes commented on our superior free cash flow yield and the valuation opportunity in our stock. Last night, we reported our third quarter results with our trailing 12 months free cash flow increasing to $89 million, up 46% versus last year. And that gives us the confidence in this gold market to triple our dividend, going from paying 1.5 cents quarterly to 1.5 cents on a monthly basis starting the end of November. That puts us in the top quartile with about a 3% yield and one of the few gold companies paying dividends on a monthly basis. We're listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and the OTCQX with 61 million shares outstanding and 89 million on a fully diluted basis. Our market cap is around 400 million, which means we're trading at less than 2 times adjusted EBITDA. We started a normal course issuer bid in September, and so far we've purchased about 600,000 shares. We have the right team with the know-how and the know-who to operate in Colombia. Led by Serafino Iacono and Lombardo Paredes, we've successfully turned around the company, implementing a growth strategy while controlling cost, improving health and safety, and building on our social license to operate in our mines. Our capital investment in Segovia has focused on developing new areas within the mines incorporating infrastructure and mechanization enhancements, in addition to improving the productivity of our workers and the efficiency of moving material from the stopes to the surface. Our people are a key asset, and we focused on training our workers to properly use the new mechanized equipment, to adapt to our mining practices that reduce dilution, and to create a culture of health and safety so our workers return home safely at the end of each shift. We continue to strengthen our social license to operate in our mining title by incorporating the artisanal miners who operate in over 40 small mines in our title outside our 3 company mines. This contract mining model legitimizes their activities and reduces the use of mercury in illegal processing within our title. Our Maria Dama processing plant has been upgraded with modern equipment over the last few years and is now capable of processing up to 1,500 tons per day with 90% or better mill recovery, and is capable of being expanded to 2,000 tons per day as exploration in Segovia adds to our resources. Given global concerns about tailings storage, we're proud of our El Chocho tailings storage facility, which incorporates filter press technology, dry stacking of tailings, and has capacity to receive material for the next 7 to 8 years. Eventually, this area will be rehabilitated for use by the community. Our results over the last few years speak to our success in growing production and controlling cost, while leverage to the rising price of gold has fueled growth in adjusted EBITDA, operating cash flow, and free cash flow, which in the first 9 months of 2020 are equal to or better than all of last year. The high free cash flow has been put to work strengthening our balance sheet, growing cash, and reducing debt, giving us the confidence to pay an increased dividend on our monthly basis. Fitch recently upgraded us to a B+ as a result of our balance sheet improvement. I always start the discussion off around ESG by saying that it's been in Gran Colombia's DNA since the beginning, with our focus on health, education, environment, and the community. For instance, working with local organizations such as Angelitos de Luz, we have raised the bar in supporting the operation of both elementary and high schools in Segovia. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've also focused on 2 essential elements: protecting our workforce to ensure we can stay in operation safely, and providing support to the local communities with donations of food, medical supplies, sanitation kits, and masks. Segovia is a world-class asset, a 3,000-hectare piece of private property in a historic mining district, one of the highest grade global gold mines. And over the last 100 years, data shows that the mines have averaged more than 12 grams per ton, and this year we're averaging just under 15 grams per ton in our processing. When we first bought the project in 2010, there was no reserve statement and minimal resources. Over the years, our drilling has added about 3 ounces of resource for every ounce we have mined. And 3 years ago, we reported our first reserve, which has given us a line of sight for near-term production planning. That brings us to an exciting opportunity where we now can move to the next phase of exploration, stepping out to test the other 24 known veins with historical mining data and where we aren't currently mining. The regional drilling program started in October with our first holes at Vera and will continue through the end of next year. Earlier this year, we spun out our Marmato project to Caldas Gold, and over the summer, we completed $230 million of financing, including a $110 million stream with Wheaton, to fund the expansion of the existing operations into the deep zone to build Colombia's next major gold mine. Our portfolio also includes 4 other projects held through equity investments in junior mining companies. These investments provide our shareholders with an additional opportunity for value creation as these companies re-rate as they execute their growth strategies. In summary, let me leave you with these key points. We have a strong balance sheet, a superior free cash flow yield, which allows us to pay dividends on a monthly basis. We have a solid management team, and we're continuing to explore our high-grade Segovia mining title. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to thank Frank Holmes for this invitation to his conference, and special thanks to those of you tuning in. It's my pleasure to present an exciting gold story in northern Sweden. In the presentation, I'm going to be making some forward statements, and I refer you to the slide. Barsele is a member of the Belcara Group. Two of the advantages of being involved in a group like the Belcara Group is the sharing of costs on both administration and also a sharing of technical knowledge between all the geologists and experienced people in our company. As you can see by this slide, our management and directors are a very experienced team. It's a team that's had a high success rate, including the Orco Silver, taking it from an early stage exploration project to finally selling it to Coeur Mining in 2012 for 370 plus million. Here's Barsele's share structure slide. Ticker is BME, trades on the TSB. One of the unique things about Barsele Minerals is it's never ever done a financing. It was spun out of Orex Minerals in 2015 with 500,000 cash and some warrants. The breakdown of ownership in Barsele Minerals is about 50% institutional, 25% at least management and friends, and you'll see that Fresnillo Mining owns 4%. That came from a joint venture deal that was done in Orex Minerals prior to the spin-out. Highlighting our institutional shareholders are US Global, Frank Holmes, Ingalls & Snyder out of New York, Donald Smith and Company, another big fund out of New York, the Contrarian Group, which is a group headed by Peter Ubroth in California, and Finance SA, which is a group out of Paris, France. Here's our share price graph. As you can see, in 2017, we hit our high of $1.62. Since then, we've added 1.2 million ounces and doubled the grade. The share price has stayed relatively stable until our recent move upward coming from our latest news release. We expect that we soon will hit that old high. The location of the Barsele project is in mining-friendly northern Sweden. It occurs right at the intersection of two major belts, the VMS belt, which the area is most known for, and an orogenic gold belt. Our joint venture partner, as you can see, is Agnico Eagle. That currently sits at 55-45, with Agnico having the right to go to 70 by delivering a pre-feasibility. Up until that point, Barsele Minerals is fully carried. So far, Agnico Eagle has spent over 40 million to date on the project. There are many reasons to invest in Barsele Minerals: an expanding gold deposit with growth potential, a world-class partner in Agnico Eagle, a great mining jurisdiction in northern Sweden, strong institutional and management shareholder base, and without a doubt, a probable takeover candidate. The image shown shows only a very small piece of the overall land package. To date, Agnico Eagle has drilled over 150,000 meters. The majority of that drilling has been focused in the main mineralized zone, which already has an exploitation permit on it, which designates the land principal use mining. In this image, the gold represents the existing resource of 2.5 million ounces, and the blue represents a mineralized envelope of greater than half a gram. We believe both colors could be greatly increased by additional drilling and lower cutoffs due to the rising gold price. This illustration was based on $1,200 gold. There has been a lot of excitement generated by our most recent news release. The headline intercept occurred in target number 1, located in the Avon zone, which, by the way, produced the highest grade intercept in the history of the project. Target number 2 is very interesting because it is near surface and closes the gap towards Avon. Both of these targets are outside of the existing resource. Target number 1 from the previous slide is a 200 by 200 by 700 meter zone previously untested. Based on visuals from completed drill holes awaiting assays and the featured intercept, which assayed 5 meters, 84 grams gold, Agnico is now calling this new discovery the Bonanza vein. The photos showing lots of visible gold come from the highlighted intercept. The Risberget target is located 3.9 kilometers southeast of the main zone. To date, over 8,000 meters and 23 holes have been drilled at this target. The right-hand image shows Agnico's interpretation of the zone so far. It is open in all directions and is not included in the current resource. We expect Risberget to add ounces to the next resource. As you can see, there have been lots of very good intercepts across multiple zones. The letter code at the start of the whole ID represents the name of the zone that the assays came from. The zones are Avon, Central, Shirison, and Risberget. As Agnico continues to drill other areas of the project, we would hope that there will be new abbreviations on this slide moving forward. We see lots of upside to the project. The current resource is based on 3 kilometers of an 8-kilometer shear structure. There is roughly 5 kilometers completely untested shear. Also, the resource only averages 450 meters of depth. Agnico's team believes with deeper drilling, the mineral resource will be at least 1 kilometer deep. If true, that would double the resource by itself. One of the many things that can kill a promising project is poor metallurgy. Fortunately, Barsele has the opposite. Preliminary testing by Agnico shows a 92% recovery of gold before going through additional optimization. The beauty of Barsele's ore is that 50 or 60% of the contained gold can be recovered by a simple gravity circuit. The remainder would then go through a closed cyanide treatment. Here is the current 43101 resource done by Expo from Quebec. As you can see, it is broken up by 3 styles of mining with their own separate cutoffs. It also includes ore in 2 categories, indicated and inferred. This resource was done at 1,300 gold, so moving forward in a much higher gold environment, we would expect many changes to the parameters used. This is a great slide for Barsele Minerals, produced by National Bank in June of 2019. As you can see in their entire coverage universe, they rank Barsele as the company who should benefit the most in a rising gold price environment. Barsele has not seen a lift yet, but we expect our share price moving forward will begin to factor in the leverage to the gold price. We believe Barsele has everything an investor should look for in an advanced exploration company. A world-class partner, fantastic jurisdiction, great infrastructure, metallurgy, 2.5 million ounce resource and growing, blue sky potential, and a free carried interest to pre-fees. With that, I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and especially to Frank for having us.
Good morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you today. It's a pleasure to present the Orex story. And I'd also like to thank Frank Holmes and his colleagues for putting together this Junior Mining Expo. Frank and his team at US Global have done an excellent job over the years. Thank you very much, Frank. I will be making some forward-looking statements about our plans and schedules going through this next season. There are geologists and samplers in the field as we speak here today. They're setting up for the next drilling program, which we anticipate will occur in the first quarter of 2021. Orex Minerals is a member of the Belcara Group. I'm proud of the team that we have assembled at the Belcara Group, both on the corporate management and technical expertise sides. The group has had discoveries and sales success and added value for shareholders. We are the same management team which led to the large silver discovery at La Preciosa in Mexico. That is pertinent because Orex's Mexican projects are in the same geologic setting. Today, Gary Cope and Stephen Cope will also be speaking at this forum. As for our share structure and ownership, we have a strong institutional participation at 65%, and we are pleased that US global investors are a key part of that group. Management participates with 15% ownership, and we have a strong cash position to enable us to explore. Orex has a longer history in our group and was also the parent company for the spinout of Barsele Minerals Corp on a 1-for-1 share structure. Most recently, Pan Am has bought out our joint venture partners at Center Project, and we're at a turning point with a new agreement and expanded claims. 3 financings in the past year have topped up our exploration coffers. Our burn rate is about $200,000 per month before drilling. When drilling starts, that burn rate will of course increase as a share of exploration expenses on the various projects. Now let us get into the meat of the subject. We have 3 projects, 2 of which are joint ventures with the 2 largest silver mining companies in the world, Fresnillo and Pan American Silver. Fresnillo is a joint venture on Keynote, and Pan American Silver is our newest joint venture on the Sandra project. Our projects are located in the heart of the silver trend in Mexico. This is giant deposit country. I would like to point out La Piteria near Sandra, which is geologically very similar, and La Preciosa and San Sebastian as analogs for the Keynote project. On Sandra, the new partnership is a 60-40 joint venture on an expanded almost 7,000 hectares, 18,000 acres. The green dot on this photo is our drilling rig on the Belarus silver deposit discovery, a flat-lying disseminated silver deposit. Here are some drill holes in the Belarus discovery on Sandra. Note the depths are right near surface and the thicknesses are substantial with good silver grades. It looks like the oxide zones of the deposits in neighboring giant La Piteria of SSR mining. These are some cross sections through the Belarus deposit. It is a tabular disseminated horizontal deposit. Proposed stripping ratios would be less than 1:1 in this geometry. Average thickness about 30 meters, 100 feet. This is the first resource on the property. We have a resource estimate for Belarus deposit on Sandra based on 65 drill holes, but this is only one part of a much larger system. We are seeing a change in mineralogy to the northwest over several kilometers, and that is where the exploration is heading on the Sandra project. Now we move to central Durango state, to the Keynote mining district, where we have a joint venture with Fresnillo at 55%, 45%. We have 4,800 hectares, about 12,000 acres. Keynote is a 450-year history as a mining district in Mexico. The Keynote district extends over an area of 17 kilometers by 4 kilometers, and there are over 50 veins on the property. On the left are some of the veins outcropping on the hillsides. On the right photo is a drill core from one of our deepest intersections showing beautiful boiling textures and sulfide. Here is a selection from various veins on the property showing that the gold to silver ratio by value is roughly 1:1. These are classic vertically oriented Mexican style low sulfidation veins. There are also base metal values as you go deeper on various structures. Historic mining only mined down to the water table on a selection of high-grade veins. Oxidation extends 70 to 100 meters below surface, below which sulfide mineralization dominates. Some veins, like Loma Verde in this photo, with good values, were not mined historically. In summary, we have 3 projects in 2 strong mining jurisdictions. We have joint venture partners on both of the Mexican projects. We have an established presence in Durango, Mexico, a strong technical team, and a management team to deliver results. There is more to be discovered. Here are the contact names for more information on Orex. I would also like to welcome our newest member, Alicia Ford, to the team in business development, investor relations, and communications. Thank you very much. I look forward to new discoveries and new opportunities for investors in the mining sector. Good day.
Hi, I'd like to welcome everyone for attending today's talk. You're going to hear about a very exciting gold and silver story located in Sonora, Mexico. I'd also like to thank Frank Holmes and Ralph Aldis for their continued support as long-term shareholders of our stock. I will be making some forward-looking statements today, so I'd like to draw your attention to this slide. Silver Viper is the 3rd member of the Belcara Group that you've heard from today. Just to reiterate the points from the previous presentations, our geos have over 150 years combined experience working all over the world. We can afford to do that because we are able to share a G&A cost across multiple companies, which gives us a big advantage over our peers. This is a team that has done this before and will continue to have success moving forward. The Belcara Group of companies have a specific model. We take a project that is somewhere along the exploration timeline and advance it to a point where a major mining company would purchase the project. We only get involved with projects that have the size potential that would interest the majors. For us, that is 1 million ounces gold equivalent or 100 million ounce silver equivalent. The best example of that for our group was Orco Silver. This is mainly the same group that built and sold Orco. On that project, we put the first drill hole into the ground and grew it to over 270 million ounces of silver, ultimately selling the project for over $375 million in a bidding war between Coeur Mining and First Majestic. The company has completed 2 financings since the IPO in September 2017. We raised $4 million in September 2019 at 25 cents with a half warrant at 35 cents, and then in June 2020, $5.1 million at 36 cents and a half warrant at 50 cents. Both financings were oversubscribed and very successful. The share structure is broken down as follows: at least 57% institutional, 23% management, and the remainder is retail. We don't currently have a corporate with a strategic investment, but given the amount of companies that have gone under CA in the past year, it wouldn't surprise me if one doesn't try to take a position soon. I am very happy with the institutional following we have built in this company. We are very appreciative of the long-term support we have received from US Global and Ingalls & Snyder. Both are very supportive of all the Belcara companies, and in this case got involved while the company was still private. You can see on this slide some of the other funds with large holdings, and I believe we currently have around 20 different funds that own the stock. The company has a low share count. It trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol BIPR and the OTCQB under the symbol BIPRF. The company hit an all-time high of 85 cents in August and is currently trading around 46 cents. We are cashed up to complete phase 2 and begin on phase 3. We are very careful on dilution, and I would like to go back to the market when we get the price back closer to those highs. As you can see, the stock has come off from our highs in the last couple of months. This has happened for 3 reasons. One was we triggered an acceleration clause on the warrants from the first financing. The second was a recent correction in metals prices, and the third was the shares from the June financing becoming free trading. All of these things combined have created an opportunity to build a position at cheaper prices, and the share price is already starting to rebound. Besides the team running the company, the most important thing is the project itself. We have a very good one here with the La Virginia project. We have the right to go to 100% through a very attractive option agreement and a large land package that is highly underexplored. All of the 50,000+ meters in the past was focused on a few targets on a very small portion of the claims. La Virginia is located 220 km east of Hermosillo. This area hasn't seen a lot of exploration. 100 km to the south is the Dolores mine, and 100 km to the north is the El Tigre mine. Mine finders flew the whole range looking for another Dolores and settled on La Virginia being the lookalike. It was their #1 exploration asset, and they spent over $10 million on the project before they were bought by Pan Am. When we looked at the database and did our site visit, the thing that got us most excited was the fact that most of the project hadn't even been mapped or sampled. We saw lots of potential for new discoveries, and that's exactly what we did at the end of the phase 1 program with the El Ruby discovery. Phase 2 drilling has been completely focused on El Ruby and the newly identified anomalies in that portion of the project. Since acquiring the project, we've completed over 20,000 meters and are still drilling our phase 2 program, which will run until we pause for the Christmas break. One of the upcoming major catalysts for the company is the maiden resource for the project. This will incorporate all the historic drilling at Las Guatas and Virginia, as well as all our drilling at El Ruby. We are very excited to get this resource out in the coming months. This project is a low sulfidation system with stockwork veining and breccia zones. The underground workings in the picture are from the historic areas of La Virginia and Virginia. We find that while these zones are very attractive, things start to look even better at El Ruby. You can also see that we have all the historic core stored in a warehouse in Hermosillo and have since rented the warehouse next to that to store our own core. The El Ruby zone has been the focus of our work, and you can see why when you start looking at some of these assays. The nice thing about El Ruby is it sits in a more favorable terrain for open pit mining. It is on a 2K by 2K flat plateau, and while we have these high grades in the main structure, we also get broad low grade zones as well, both in the main El Ruby structure and in our new discovery of hole 245. Hole 245 really starts to show the potential of the El Ruby area for open pit mining. It is located 100 meters west of the main El Ruby structure and hit the widest intercept to date, 110 meters grading 0.75 gold and 38 grams per ton silver. When you look at these images, you can really start to envision a nice open pit. The average open pit heap leach mine in the state operates around a half gram gold average grade. This slide really shows where all of our work has been focused since the initial El Ruby discovery. You can see the location of El Ruby and the first of our anomalies that have been tested and are awaiting assays. The team is currently up in the area in the northeast, tightening up that spacing, and they recently identified another zone that will be tested early in phase 3 just off this image to the south. Metallurgy is important for any project. Initially, we sent samples to the University in Hermosillo, where they showed us that mineralization is hosted in acanthite and gold and silver are alloyed as electrum. We have also done some basic bottle roll tests, and that work has shown that gold leaches very well, with recoveries over 90% across all grain ranges and silver around 60 to 70%. We are very excited by these results and expect them to get better with additional optimization. In conclusion, this project offers everything that you should be looking for when you're looking to invest in a precious metals explorer. I'd like to thank everyone again for taking time to listen to today's talk, and again to US Global and to Streetwise for putting on this event. I look forward to talking with many of you as you have questions about the project, and hopefully a lot of you will become shareholders of the company moving forward. Thank you again and enjoy the conference.
Well, thank you, everyone. Wasn't that exciting, Gordon?
I tell you, my mind's spinning, Frank. A lot of information, but very concise.
Yes, and it's very comprehensive and concise. And I love the idea of the vision of putting a company together with a goal for 100 million ounces of gold or 100 million ounces of silver. It creates clarity for why would we go and speculate. And I want to thank a lot of these other companies, but don't forget, it's Ralph Aldis that really believes in you, and he's our portfolio manager that did kicking the tires and you communicate with. And I want to make sure all the listeners know that Ralph is my key guy that does a phenomenal job of due diligence on these companies. So I'd like to ask a couple questions. Is that okay to open up for a quick rapport? Rick, Barksdale Resources, your exploration properties in San Antonio. You know, at first they thought it was San Antonio, Texas. And I was chuckling saying, no, there's no copper gold porphyry deposits near here.
Probably better barbecue, Frank.
But better barbecue, that's for sure. But where do you see this concern you of the change in the government, the EPA? Do you have to deal with them to fast track the permitting process, which you have to?
Yeah, so at our phase in exploration, who's in charge of the government really doesn't have an impact at this point. Once we make a discovery, hopefully, and move that forward, and you get to the mine permitting phase, that would obviously have more ramifications. But at this point, at the discovery phase, no, we're pretty insulated from who's running the show.
Great, thanks. And Mike Davies, Superstar CFO, Gran Colombia. Congratulations on increasing your dividend. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And I do think that you're one of the most undervalued stocks, and why you are in our portfolios and your gold notes. They've been a wonderful performer for our funds. And so here you are, you're in Colombia. I believe you're the largest gold producer in Colombia. And how would you say you ranked in Latin America? Would you be in South America, number 3, number 4 as a high-grade gold producer?
We're certainly in the top, top 3 to 4 in Latin America. It's a very unique type, which we're very proud to have ownership of. It's like private property, as I said in my comments. And so it's fueling free cash flow. Great is your friend. And I think our local operating team, led by our CEO, Lamarta Paredes, has done a fabulous job of keeping costs down in this rising market. Cash is king.
Well, you remind me of Rob McEwen going back over 20 years ago. Your company, what you're doing is that he's one of the first to go to the monthly dividend paying program because he had one of the highest rate deposits in the world. And the stock eventually creeped up that in a very positive way to the highest price to book value, and then he gets taken over. So let's hope quickly this happens with your story on Gran Colombia. I'd like to ask Gary Cope, the Barksdale, just to mention the sensitivity to gold price movement you were commenting on. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, that was a study done in 2019 by National Bank, and it kind of surprised us that we popped up, and I think Agnico Eagle was number 4, number 5 on that chart. But it just shows that at the price we were at, and the amount of ounces that we think are there, and we have a huge leverage to the gold price. We think there's 5 to 10 to 20 million ounces are going to eventually be found on this project. And the latest news is now they're starting to find some extremely high grade bonanza veins, and we've got a lot more results coming that we think are going to be similar to the ones we just put out the last day or so.
In these marginal gold producers, they call them. It was always, when you went in through a gold cycle, as gold made new highs, money would roll into South African gold stocks because they had such a high cost structure and they were so deep. And these stocks then would perform far better than anything in North America because of what you just mentioned, the optionality, the leverage to rising gold prices. All of a sudden, their price, their cash flow, their revenue per share would explode. So I think what's really interesting is that here you have this from an exploration play that as the price of gold rises, that your optionality expands greater than anyone else. So it's to me, it's a very wonderful aspect of looking at a junior explorer. And good luck in putting up that resource. Ben, Orex, do you go down, are you in Mexico often, and where do you see Mexico in the next 12 months as exciting for you, where the opportunities are, other deposits coming up? Because you're very close to San Antonio, Texas.
Yes, I've usually go down to Mexico, but this coronavirus has caused a few delays lately. We've had some people down there on the project, and one of our key geologist contractors is a fellow that's worked with our team off and on before, and his name is Dante Aguilar, is on the project as we speak. So his team with the geologists there are in the field, and he's an ex-Gold Corp and Lewisman geologist with knowledge of that area of Mexico that's bar none. He's a great guy to have in the field. But we will, as things open up a bit more, be traveling back and forth more often.
Now, Cabo, where do you fly to Mexico? I see Cabo in your shirt.
Oh, sorry, that's a gift from one of the drilling companies. The fellow who's in Cabo right now is usually Gary, because he has a lot of contacts through that area as well. And he's waving, and I can see it looks like a boat there, Gary.
No, it's a golf cart.
Oh, a golf cart. Okay.
Golf cart.
But yes,
technology is phenomenal. You know, the interesting enough from the airlines industry, it's opened up in America, is that you're seeing flights like Southwest just started flying this past month from Phoenix down to Cabo in Mexico. So it may not be between Canada and the U.S. or U.S. and Europe, but the tourist and tourism is really picking up dramatically, the airlines. So that's a sort of positive, I think, in going south towards Mexico. And I hope lots of success in your programs there. Last question is to Steve, Silver Viper. What are your thoughts on diamond prices, the sharp drop in demand in 2020? Do you have any comments on that outside of what you're focused on?
Sorry, was that diamond prices? I don't have a lot of comments on the diamond prices for our company.
I mean, I'm teasing you. Not diamond prices you're going to buy for your wife, but the cost of diamond drilling.
Oh, diamond drilling. Yeah, well, drilling hasn't changed. So one of the problems we've always had is all the drilling costs are billed in U.S. dollars. So one of the things that's always been annoying to us, even though we're a Canadian company operating in Mexico, the drilling companies tend to charge you in U.S. dollars. So we are blessed in Mexico. The drilling costs tend to be a lot cheaper than the rest of the world. But they haven't really come off, or we certainly haven't noticed them coming off. And with the rise in metals prices, there seems to be a lot of demand for those drills. That's been one of the complaints moving from a lot of our peers, that they had a difficult time getting rigs in Mexico. They've tried to ramp up their program. They've stayed relatively flat where we are. There hasn't been much of a swing up or down.
Is it much cheaper than in Canada for drilling, Steve?
Depends. I mean, it depends probably where you are in Canada as well. But I know from a past company that we work for, our costs in Canada were close to $400 a meter, and in Mexico we're at about $150 a meter. A lot of it depends on, if you're using a helicopter supported drilling, which a lot of, certainly in British Columbia and other parts of Canada you are. In Mexico, we've got great infrastructure and easy access to get to areas on the project. So no, there is a dramatic difference oftentimes in that case in Mexico versus other parts of the world.
Great. Well, thank you, and good luck to all of you. And thank you, everyone, for the first series of companies that we've invested in. the first 5, and now we're going to go on to the next group of companies that we have the opportunity to present. And for all those listeners, investors that are out there, please feel free to go and visit their website to learn more about those companies. And hopefully this 6.4 minutes has helped you become excited about why we have bet on these jockeys. These guys know where to find the horses and what horses to ride. But when you go down to this junior exploration, it's really you're betting on the jockey. Now, when it comes to Gran Colombia, the jockey there is the CFO. He's navigated through so many cycles. So he's also one of those people that have been baptized in what they call fire. And he's done a great job of Gran Colombia and Serafino Aquino and the whole team there of turning around that company, becoming a premier gold producer of the world. Thank you all. Next, Gordon.
All right, Frank. So we've had a few questions from the live audience, which we won't have time to get to today. But one of the main ones, as we can go forward on the next group, is the stock symbols. So when we get to the questions at the end, probably a good idea. But I guess it's time now for the giveaway. I think we have a couple of gifts. First is for everybody who would like to get a hat and luggage tags. If you can email, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's info@usfunds.com with your mailing address, because it's a physical that Grow is going to be offering. I think Frank has got a hat on. Maybe we can show a happy Frank. Put Frank back up. There he is. So that's a visual. And Frank, you were teasing about something about making gold great again. Is that another hat you're thinking about, or is
that's going to become in red, and that'll become a collector's item?
There you go. I love it. That's great. And then we've done a random drawing. If we can go back to that golden horseshoe, we've done our random drawing of all the people that have signed up for the show today. And that's been a new record for us, so I'm very pleased about that. So you see, one lucky winner receives the gold-plated horseshoe. I tell you, that would be something to put up on my wall. Yep, Frank?
Ralph has that on his door, so he touches it all the time when he's looking to buy good stock.
Okay, good. So hopefully that'll be a good luck for that investor. And the investor that is gets the lucky gold horseshoe is Patrice Sabita. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing the last name, but you were randomly drawn out of all the folks that had signed up. And I can't remember the final numbers, but it was several hundred people that have signed up for today's show. And of course, this is going to be up on our YouTube channel later today. So without further ado, Frank, I think it's time to go to the next 5 companies.
That's right. Keep the ball rolling.
Brixton Metals Corporation is an exploration and development company focused on silver, gold, and copper within Canada and the USA. Brixton Metals trades on the TSX Venture under the ticker BBB and on the OTCQB under BBBXF. As chairman and CEO of Brixton, I bring 27 years of experience. We have a technically strong, discovery-driven team with a wealth of capital markets experience. Management has a proven track record of building companies, and we have mine building and mine finance experience at the board level. Brixton has a stellar roster of shareholders with some of the biggest names in the mining business, with Eric Sprott and Rob McEwen, and most recently Robert Friedland. These 3 names make up our 3 largest shareholders. Brixton has excellent liquidity, having traded around 160 million shares year to date. Brixton has 4 wholly owned precious and base metal projects within Canada and the US. The Hog Haven project is located in northwest Montana. The Thorn project is in the Golden Triangle of BC. The Atlan Goldfields project is located in Atlan, BC. And the Langus project is located in Canada's largest silver district, Cobalt Camp. The Hog Haven project is a polymetallic advanced stage project with past high-grade silver production at stratiform copper silver and copper gold porphyry potential. Hog Haven is located on private lands with no BLM or Forest Service and is permitted. Brixton and High Power Exploration have signed a heads of an agreement for a $44.5 million USD earn-in joint venture on the Hog Heaven project. Total payments to Brixton are $4.5 million over 6 years. HPX can earn 51% by spending $15 million, with an option to increase to 75% ownership through another $25 million spend. The Thorn project is a 2,600 square kilometer land package, which is the largest in the Golden Triangle. The project is a district clay copper gold porphyry system with sedimentary and volcanic hosted gold deposits. It has potential tidewater and road access. You can leave Vancouver and be at camp for lunch. The geochemical signature at the Thorn project highlights a 70-kilometer mineralized megatrend. 25,000 soils and 6,600 rock samples have been collected to date. 6 large-scale copper anomalies have been identified. The Camp Creek and the Metla targets represent 2 of the most significant target areas. While gold mineralization occurs at Camp Creek and the Metla targets, there are 2 primary gold targets: the Outlaw sediment-hosted gold zone and the Trapper volcanic-hosted gold zone. In addition, Brixton plans to expand the geochem work around the Golden Bear mine on the southern extent of the property. The Camp Creek target is a blind porphyry target that was discovered in 2019. Camp Creek is an open-ended 2 kilometers by 3 kilometers IP geophysical anomaly. And 2 deep holes were drilled in 2020, one of which was drilled between the outstanding drill results from hole 150 and hole porphyry discovery in hole 162. The Outlaw zone is a sediment-hosted 4-kilometer gold anomaly. Gold mineralization occurs as continuous horizons at or near surface and over 60 meters in thickness. More than 2,000 meters of drilling have been conducted in 2020 as infill and extensions to prior drilling here. Brixton acquired the Trapper claims from Kodiak Copper in 2020. Previous work identified more than 2-kilometer gold anomaly with significant drill results. Post-consolidation, the Trapper trend is now represents a 5-kilometer gold trend. Brixton acquired the Metla claims from Stahini Exploration in 2020, which strategically infilled the 70-kilometer mineralized trend. Exploration work identified gold-rich polymetallic mineralization and copper-gold porphyry-style mineralization along a 10-kilometer strike. The Langus project is located within the Cobalt Camp of Ontario, Canada's largest silver-producing district. The project is located 500 kilometers north from Toronto and has excellent infrastructure with year-round drilling opportunity. The company is actively drilling and is working towards a maiden silver cobalt resource. The Langus mine produced 10.4 million ounces of silver at 25 ounces per ton up until 1989, where Agnico was the operator. And Brixton has generated exceptional high-grade silver and cobalt results and has an agreement with the Timiskaming First Nations and strong working relationship. In 2020, Brixton has focused its exploration efforts around the historical workings near shaft number 3, where 2020 drilling returned 5 meters of 1,293 grams per ton silver. Silver occurs as native silver, as veins and in disseminations associated with or without cobalt minerals. In the fall of 2020, surface stripping of overburden exposed silver and cobalt veins at surface, which returned 0.4 meters of 3,100 grams per ton silver and 10% cobalt. High-density fan-type drilling is ongoing with the intent of building a high-grade silver resource. At the Thorn project, we plan to drill towards a resource and generate new discoveries along Brixton's 70-kilometer-long megatrend. At Langus, we are currently drilling through the winter and aim to generate a maiden resource in the spring. At Hog Heaven, HPX plans to aggressively advance exploration towards new discoveries. In summary, Brixton Metals has an excellent shareholder base with great liquidity. Brixton has several wholly owned, high-impact exploration projects for gold, silver, and copper, and we're well-funded with significant upside potential through our joint venture partnership. Brixton Metals trades on the TSX Venture under the ticker BBB and on the OTCQB under the ticker BBBXF. For further information, I encourage you to visit brixtonmetals.com and sign up for our news alerts. Thank you very much.
The price of gold is in an uptrend. What's more, quality growth projects in gold in good locations are becoming increasingly more rare. My name is Hugh Agro, and I'm the president and CEO of Revival Gold, a growth company in gold. Pictured here is an overview of the Bear Track Arnett Gold Project, our focus project and the largest past-producing gold mine in Idaho, USA. The customary cautionary note, I will be making forward-looking statements. Revival Gold is led by a veteran gold team. Each of us has a track record of success in gold. Our non-executive chairman, Wayne Hubert, was a senior exec with Meridian and went on to build and successfully sell Andean Resources to Goldcorp. I retired from Kinross near the top of the last cycle. I came back in 2017 to build Revival Gold because I see a tremendous opportunity for investors. And this is our track record. The team at Revival Gold has delivered tremendous value to investors over the course of our careers. And with Revival Gold, we think we have the right asset at the right time to deliver up another success. Our stock symbol is RVG on the TSXV and RVLGF on the OTCQB. Our market cap is about 74 million and the stock trades with good liquidity. We have about 12.5 million of cash and we're backed by US Global and other institutions holding about 40% of the stock. Management owns 10%. Street Research targets are for 2 to 3 times our current $1 share price. This is the classic Lassonde curve charting value across the life cycle of an exploration mining project. Revival Gold is riding the Lassonde curve in 2 ways. First, through exploration, as we continue to expand the gold deposit for full potential around a mill operation. Second, through development as we progress towards a potential first phase restart of the heap leach operation at Bear Track Arnett. Revival Gold's Bear Track Arnett project is located in eastern Idaho. We are in the right address. Just look at the proliferation of gold bubbles representing gold projects in the state on this map. There are probably better than 18 million undeveloped ounces of gold located in Idaho. That's an impressive endowment. But great geology is just part of the story. The Fraser Institute ranks Idaho among the top 10 jurisdictions for investment in exploration and mining in the world. There is a large history of exploration and mining in Idaho. That translates into a skilled and capable workforce. And we have a community that understands the role that responsible mining can play in the state's economic and social prosperity. Revival Gold announced a 3 million ounce gold resource in February. That makes Bear Track Arnett the second largest deposit of gold in the state of Idaho. We kicked off a 33,000 foot drill program to follow up in August. We are targeting 4 locations on the project, including the Rabbit target, 3 kilometers step out from the main deposit at Bear Track. We are currently drilling with 3 rigs. At the same time, we are in the final stages of completing a PEA on the first phase restart of heap leach operations. Importantly, we are on an active brownfield site with roads, power, an ADR plant, and related facilities. We are an hour's drive from a town of 3,000. The situation offers us a head start on the potential restart of operations with lower technical and permitting risk. Going forward, we have an abundance of exploration potential on the 13,000-acre Bear Track Arnett project. We have a 3.5-mile mineralized trend on the right branch of the property and a satellite deposit at Haidee on the left branch of the property. The deposits are open in all directions with better than 6 miles of favorable structure to explore. And the drill results are putting smiles on our geologists' faces. 3.5 miles of mineralized trend with intercepts of 1.5 to 2.5 grams per ton gold over 15 to 115 meters, as illustrated in this long section looking west at Bear Track. The deposit has been drilled to 600 meters depth, and we still haven't hit the end of it. What's more, we see some higher grades in the deposit. For example, 71 grams over 9.8 meters in the Wards Gulch area, pictured in this cross-section. Here you can see the evolution of the Bear Truck deposit as it's grown, constrained only by an absence of drilling. Indeed, we've hit mineralization at Bear Track Garnet in every hole we've drilled but one. Over the past 3 years, we have grown Bear Track Garnet resource from nil to 3 million ounces at an all-in cost of less than $5 an ounce. With no debt and 12 million in the bank, we are fully funded for the next 2 seasons of exploration and development. By mid-2022, we expect to be out with an updated resource and to have positioned ourselves for a production decision on the potential restart of operations. Revival Gold came out the gates in September 2017 at 60 cents a share. We're trading today at about $1 a share with good volume. And the chart suggests we are on the right trend. Finally, just a word on relative value. Revival Gold has good grade, impressive exploration potential, and we are pure gold trading today at about $15 an ounce relative to our peers that are about 2 to 3 times that. We have a ton of upside, and we have the catalysts to get us there. Resource expansion, blue sky drilling at Rabbit, preliminary economics on the heap leach coming very soon. So there you have it. I welcome you to join US Global and other smart money investors that have joined in investing in Revival Gold. The price of gold is going higher. Revival Gold is advancing one of the largest independently owned gold projects in the United States. At our share price, the analysts are calling for a 2 to 3 times return on investment. For more information, please visit us at www.revival-gold.com.
Good morning. I'm Nick Appleyard, President and CEO of TriStar Gold. Thanks to Frank for inviting us for this chit chat today. I'm going to be telling you about our Castelo de Sonhos project, the Castle of Dreams in central Brazil, and the exciting opportunity that it represents. Now, every good story starts with the people. I joined TriStar just over 5 years ago, bringing in a new senior management team and a philosophy that we minimize carrying costs in North America and maximize investment into the project. This means no fancy offices. Rather, we focus on a hand-picked team of the best possible people to do the job that needs doing. So this is what we call the Gallery of Rogues. This is the core of our senior team whose focus is on de-risking, developing, and permitting a gold mine in Brazil. In my opinion, everyone you see here is the best in class in their field. And on top of that, all of them have invested their own money into TriStar. So here is our board of directors. In line with best practices, we have a strong independent influence guiding the activities at TriStar. On our board, we also have expertise in law, governance, and geology, as well as a huge amount of transactional experience. So much experience that Quentin tells me Mark probably saw the deposit form 2 billion years ago. So TriStar's management and board, plus friends and family, own nearly a quarter of the company. This means we have the same goals as you, the investor. We want to make our money through stock price appreciation. We also have institutions owning 44%, of which Frank's US Global is our largest shareholder with over 10% of the company. The gold resource has been growing rapidly from less than 300,000 ounces in 2014 to 1.3 million ounces in 2017 and to our current 1.3 million ounces of inferred and 700,000 ounces of indicated. The real question, though, is how much more gold is there at the Castle of Dreams? You'll see various versions of this graph, but they all say the same thing. You get discovery excitement, then the speculators leave, then you get de-risking and development, and the smart money comes in. At Castelo de Sonhos, we have both discovery with 3 drills turning and development of the PFS in the same project. So here you can see a nice view of Esperanza South, where 20,000 meters of infill drilling is now complete and the significant intersections are available on our website. This drilling is aimed at upgrading the inferred resources to indicated for use in the pre-feasibility study. To do this, we are reducing the drill spacing from 100 meters between holes to 50 meters. So here, this is the exploration that we're also excited about. We have more conglomerate-hosted targets in Esperanza South, East, and Central, amongst others. These are targets that supply growth from more of what we already have. The CDS Deeps target is something new and unknown, and it could be nothing or it could be everything. TriStar's market capitalization is around Canadian $80 million and has been increasing nicely since we received an investment of $8 million for a 1.5% NSR from Royal Gold. This is what I was referring to earlier as the start of the smart money coming in. You need to look for a quality asset that you believe will become a mine and get in early. So TriStar currently trades at a price to NAV ratio of about 0.3. This is the normal range for a PEA level project. However, very soon this will be a pre-feasibility study project moving into feasibility. So without needing to add a single ounce, the de-risking alone can unlock multiples to the current valuation. And here's our stock price graph since I've been with the company. You can clearly see the discovery excitement through the period of resource growth, followed by the departure of the speculators. Then after our PA was published, the smart money investment started with the investment from Royal Gold. So I hope you've been paying attention. The stars are aligning here. The smart investors like Frank and Royal Gold are in. The drill rigs are turning on multiple exploration targets. The pre-feasibility study is well underway, as are the baseline social and environmental activities required for permitting. Add to all of that a $1,900 gold price. So the obvious question is, do we have enough money to do all of this? Yes, we do. We currently have about US $10.5 million in the bank, thanks to the financing we did this summer with Cormark and the investment we received from Royal Gold. We are also seeing significant inflows from the exercise of warrants and employee stock options. So we pride ourselves on being smart and careful with shareholder money. We want as much as possible of the money spent going directly on the project. We are fully funded to complete our exploration plans for 2021, as well as the required engineering and pre-feasibility study and our environmental and social permitting activities. So in December 2018, we published a PEA that contained conceptual economics. These were nothing short of sensational, with an all-in sustaining cost of $687 an ounce, low by any standard. At a base case of $1,250 gold, we had a post-tax rate of return of 43%. And I don't need to remind you that the gold price is now over $1,900. So a quick look at a cross-section through Esperanza South, which will be part of the pre-feasibility study. What I like here is the continuity of the reefs that we're chasing. This year, we have been using artificial intelligence to aid us in linking the reefs together. The AI can unlock complex clues that would take even our best geologists years to work out. The next most important thing after grade is metallurgical recovery. We have now completed our test work for the pre-feasibility study and published the results. Average gold recovery at 106 micron crush is over 98%. This is in line with the actual recoveries from the Jacobina and Taco gold mines that are geologically analogous to Castelo de Soñas. Castelo de Soñas project is in mining-friendly Pará state, home to some of the world's largest iron ore and bauxite mines. This is cattle grazing country along Highway 163 that connects to major ports and is also a major power transmission corridor. The project is more than 50 kilometers from the nearest protected lands. So management, mine life cycle, market cap, money, and minerals, the 5 M's. I think we check the box every time. If you have any questions about any of the work that we have done or we are planning on doing, please get in touch with us through our website or email us at info@tristargold.com. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Good day to all. My name is Arturo Bonillas. I'm the president and CEO of Magna Gold Corp. Magna is a mining company that operates, explores, develops, and builds mines in Mexico. The next 2 slides show our leadership team. Besides me as president, CEO, and director, we have Miguel Ángel Soto as vice president of exploration with more than 40 years of experience in Mexico. Miguel Bonilla as country manager and director. Miguel has been with the company for 15 years now since inception, working for the previous operators. Parviz Farsanchi, director, former CEO of Scorpio Mining with operations in Mexico, and former COO of Vale Limited. Laura Diaz, director, former general director of Mines of Mexico and currently running her private law firm. Alex Akumis, with over 25 years in the mining industry with wide experience in capital formation and growth of listed companies. Gordon Sutherland, director, a chartered professional accountant, has held senior financial executive roles with major publicly listed companies. In March of 2020, Magna acquired from Allegiant Gold the San Francisco mine, including a 41,000 hectare package of mining concessions. The San Francisco mine is our primary asset. Magna's properties are located in the state of Sonora, Mexico, the best mining jurisdiction in the country. Over the next 3 years, we will focus on taking the company to a targeted production of 200,000 ounces of gold per year. Next year, we're aiming at 100,000 ounces. And by 2023, Magna should have 5 million ounces of gold resources in the ground. We already have 1.5 million ounces. We will reach those targets by aggressively drilling the San Francisco mine and Magna's nearly 45,000 hectares of owned mining concessions. The company has 84.5 million shares outstanding and 90.5 million shares fully diluted. Our ownership structure is tight, including 19% retail, 45% institutional, and 2 strategic partners holding 28% of the company between the two. The company has no debt and no royalty contracts. We have $16 million in our treasury and growing. On August 28th of this year, Magna published an updated NI 43-101 pre-feasibility study. The current table shows the updated numbers. The San Francisco mine has 1.43 million ounces of mineral resources, calculated at 1,500 out of gold, and 752,000 ounces of mineral reserves, calculated at 1,350 gold. The updated pre-feasibility study also shows an 8-year mine life, an average gold production of 69,000 ounces per year, total gold production of 527,000 ounces, and an average cash cost of $1,160 per ounce, an after-tax net present value of $231 million at the spot price of $19.50. The current slide shows a plan view of operations. The mine is next to an international highway. Drive time to the U.S. is 1.5 hours. This view shows the location of the 2 producing open pits in our new underground mine. We occupy a space of 600 hectares, and the company owns 1,700 hectares of adjacent surface land. There's room to grow. Pre-stripping activities and underground mine developments are progressing well, and we're poised for an exciting and profitable 2021 and the years to come. The slide shows the San Francisco and the Chicharra open pits, as well as equipment developing the underground mine. We have process facilities with crushing and leaching capacity of 22,000 tons per day. The slide shows the mine performance under Magna's management. We took control of operations in May of this year. During this 6-month period, the mine generated revenues of $22.4 million, cash cost of it $15.1 million, and an operating profit of $7.3 million. Cash costs include $5.8 million of money reinvested by operations to address lack of past maintenance and serious operational oversight. With the acquisition of San Francisco mine, Magna controls more than 41,000 hectares in this district. Next year, we plan to drill at least another 5 targets within this region. Magna has currently an ongoing 30,000-meter drill program in and around its 2 open pits and its underground mine. The slide shows the precise location of our targets. The program is designed to add mineral reserves in the fastest possible time. By Q1 2021, the company shall have a new mine plan with an expected considerable increase in mineral reserves. The current slide shows a reserve table at different cutoff grades of what was our initial qualifying transaction in the early days of the company 3 years ago, the Mercedes project. Now drilled, Mercedes has sufficient mineral reserves to build a small startup pit and a small scale of profitable heap leach operation. The mine will begin production by Q2 or Q3 of 2021 and shall generate around $15 million in operating profits in a 24-month period. This slide shows photographs of the hill where the starter pit will be developed at the Mercedes project. It is called La Mosa Hill. Mineralization is on surface. Strip ratio of the pit will be of 0.3 to 1. Rock is soft, and metallurgical gold recoveries for a heap leach operation show recoveries of up to 80% in the lab. The company has 6 near-term catalysts that shall happen between the next 4 to 12 months. First catalyst is the San Francisco mine. We shall increase mineable reserves by at least 200,000 ounces by Q1 2021 after completing a 30,000-meter infill drill program. Catalyst number 2, the Mercedes project. We shall begin mining in production by Q2 of 2021. Catalyst number 3, La Pima Silver Project. We should conclude phase 1 of core drilling at La Pima by the end of this year. The other catalyst, San Judas Project, or St. Judas, finalize geological work and determine drill locations by Q1 2021. Potentially discover another San Francisco mine type deposit here. Next catalyst, Magna envisions to produce between 80 to 90,000 ounces of gold in 2021. That includes more of the underground ore that is not considered in the pre-feasibility study, plus 8,000 ounces from the Mercedes starter pit. And finally, our last catalyst is the new silver portfolio. Magna is in the process of acquiring a very interesting portfolio of exploration silver properties in northern Mexico. We shall be announcing our silver strategy in a couple of months. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Janolis, CEO of Allegiant Gold. It's an honor to be participating in the virtual Junior Mining Expo conference, and I would like to thank Frank Holmes and his team for organizing such a wonderful event and selecting Allegiant Gold to participate. Allegiant Gold is a mid-stage exploration company based in Reno, Nevada, with all assets in the southwest of the United States, including our east side, our flagship 1 million ounce deposit based in, hosted in Nevada, putting us in a rare group of junior exploration companies with over 1 million ounces of oxide resources in that area. Over the course of the next 5 minutes, I will take you through a very short and targeted presentation on the merits of Allegiant Gold. First, I'd like to start off with forward-looking statements. I would encourage everyone to review these at your leisure. What makes Allegiant Gold special are 5 main aspects that puts us really in a different class. First is a large inferred resource. Very few companies in this area have over 1 million ounces of oxide resources. We're one of the companies, and we believe we have potential for significant expansion. Second is our technical team, led by Andy Wallace, who's been with us for over 15 years and has been in the industry for over 50 years, having found some of the great deposits in Nevada. Third is jurisdiction. Nevada clearly is one of the best places to operate, consistently ranked as one of the top 3 places in the world to operate a mine. Fourth is cash flow. No other company that I know of has the cash flow coming in, given our model of focusing on our main project and then farming out, which allows us to cover all of our overhead costs, including landholding costs, through the cash that we get in through our farm outs. And fifth is skin in the game. We are really one of the only companies that I know of in which management and insiders have purchased over 15% of the outstanding shares over the past 14 months. The management and insiders and directors are led by myself, Sean, Andy. Norm Pitcher, former president of El Dorado, has played an increasing role in the management of the company and helping us develop our Eastside project. Andy Wallace is very well known in the industry, one of the true great geologists over the last 50 years, and having found many deposits. He's been with us for over 15 years, and every single project that we own was selected by Andy. Eastside is our main project. It's our flagship project. It's where all our resources go into. 72 square kilometers, hosts 1.1 million ounces on the north side of the zone, and we have an additional 270,000 ounces that are non-43-101 compliant in the south zone, and is primarily our target of increasing those resources over the coming year. Our most recent resource estimate came in as 1.1 million. We announced this in January of 2020, so about 11 months ago. It does not include the 272,000 ounces of historical resources down in the south zone, and our drilling campaign, which commenced a few months ago, will seek to include those 272,000 ounces and confirm those into a 43-101, thereby increasing the total global resources. The pit design that we have in our resource shows that the initial deposit is open on all directions. There are significant opportunities to expand the resource, and currently our strategy right now is to outline and continue to grow this resource at depth and to all directions, and ultimately find the boundaries of this deposit. We really don't know in earnest, is this going to be a 2 million, a 5 million, a 10 million ounce deposit? And there is potential for either of those scenarios. And our job as a junior explorator is to outline the size of this asset. We have 9 other projects, 4 of them currently farmed out. The 2 of them we just recently farmed out, Clanton Hills and Morillon, were done in a excellent timing when silver ran up a few months ago. We were able to get an exceptional deal for the shareholders. We have other projects throughout Nevada, which we are entertaining offers all the time, and we'll make a decision as time goes by. Our financials, we have no debt. We just recently settled some debt we had with our former parent company. We have $1.5 to $2 million expected to come into the treasury over the next 12 to 14 months through cash and some share payments, in addition to those projects being worked on and us retaining an interest in those projects. And we have approximately $2.5 million in treasury targeted for exploration. As I stated earlier, all of the money that we get through our farm outs is used to pay for the overhead and holding our land costs, our permitting costs and everything, and we're able to do that. Our exploration budget, $2.7 million, we announced earlier this year. We've spent part of that already, and we're fully funded until the end of 2021 or beyond. Our share structure, we did not dilute any shareholders over a 2-year period of time until our recent private placement. We're very proud of us holding our share structure very tight, not diluting unnecessarily, and we will continue to operate that way in the foreseeable future. Some of the other companies out in the same area, Nevada, Idaho, Utah, you'll see some great companies out there with some amazing resources. If you look at the market cap per measured, indicated, and inferred, we are at the lower end of that scale, showing many aspects. One is that the CEO, being myself, needs to do a better job to tell the story, and second, that there is significant upside potential with our stock price. Our share price over the last 3 years, we spun out in 2017. We've been operating since 2006 as part of Columbus Gold. I assumed the role of CEO in September 2019. Previous to CEO, I've been on the board of directors for over 12 years. The stock has done very well. Granted, in fairness, the junior mining market took off in the beginning of this year, and we participated to a certain extent. Our strategy to continue to drill for 2020 is 15,000 meters, farm out those 2 projects, which we did, and then commence talking with investors. We had been very quiet for a few years, and now we're reaching out to investors. Our intermediate goals and objectives over the next 2 years is to grow Eastside into a multi-million ounce deposit, which would put us literally in 1 or 2 companies with those resources in Nevada. Resource estimate at Bolo, which is our 100% owned project being operated today by New Placer Dome, farm out 2 additional projects, and then ultimately list or uplist to a NYSE, Amex, or NASDAQ. Our catalyst, we have 30,000 meters being drilled at our projects this year or in the next 6 to 12 months, 15,000 by ourselves and 15,000 by other partners. Come out with a resource estimate, an updated one in the beginning of next year, and then an initial scoping or PEA later on. I want to thank you for your time. I know it's been very quick. I can be reached at peter@allegiantgold.com, and I try to respond to every email as soon as possible. Thank you, and have a great and safe week.
Thank you, Peter. It's for the investors who are listening. When we look at these opportunities, if these guys can find gold for simplicity, $10 an ounce, the takeovers are $100 an ounce if they own 100% of the property. That's a 10-bagger. If it's taken over at 50 cents, it's a 5-bagger. Or they own 50% of the property, you still make a 5-bagger. That's the whole part of speculating. But when you go to speculate in these individuals, it's about riding the jockey, because the jockeys will find the best horses, the best properties and assets, and that's what we've done. And now I've invited Ralph to come in and participate. As you can see, our guru there in the back, and there is Ralph, to participate and do some Q&A and being involved with this whole expo we've presented to all you investors today.
That's great presentations by the team today on all these guys. I'm waiting to get to the question and answer session, and we'll have some interesting things to discuss right here for sure. So,
Gordon, do you have any questions, or Ralph?
Well, first, Ralph, nice to see you. It's been a while. Welcome aboard. I guess, Peter, my first question would be, and by the way, when everybody comes on, if you can give your stock symbol, both in Canada and the U.S., just kind of orally give it. That's been a request that's been a theme, and we'll start adding that next session. But back to you, Peter. Somebody has asked, when do you hope? I know you mentioned it a little bit, but do you have a goal, a further goal or time on when you're going to uplist in the U.S.? And I assume you have the OTC QBX.
Yeah, our symbol is AUXXF on the OTCQX. We are a company. Our symbol in the TSX Venture is UAU. Our time frame to uplist to a U.S. exchange is within the next 2 years. That's going to be contingent on our ability to grow our market cap either through organic means or through any type of M&A activity. And, we are and ourselves always looking at companies around our area in our region in Nevada and Utah and Idaho for opportunities, and we're always being contacted for opportunities. So we haven't found the right fit for us. The reason why we want to uplist, well, we are an American company, and it's no offense to in Canada, but we don't have really anything to do with Canada with the exception of the TSX Venture listing. Our main office is in Reno, and all of our employees are in essentially Reno. So we don't, besides being listed in Canada, that's pretty much all we do in Canada.
Great, thanks. And then Frank, with your permission, and Ralph, one more question to Hugh. Hugh, great to see you, great story. Another question that's come up is, do you have any goals to expand outside of Idaho?
Yes, well, first, thanks US Global and Streetwise for having us. This is a fantastic forum. And yes, absolutely, we're focused on growth in gold, and we see lots of opportunity in the sector to continue to grow beyond Bear Track Arnett. Job one is Bear Track Arnett, and we've got a lot on our plate right now with a PA coming out very shortly, exploration drilling going on the project. But yes, absolutely. Look, there is a real shortage of growth projects in gold, and I think there's leverage through capital markets opportunities in the space. So we'll continue to keep an eye out for those.
Great, appreciate that. And Frank or Ralph, I don't want to hog it, so why don't you guys come up with some questions?
Sure. I'll go next here on Nick with the TriStar. Could you say a little bit more about this hidden target, I guess, that you mentioned? Y'all are working with AI to try to generate some new targets, and maybe what type of insights that's giving us?
Yeah, absolutely, Ralph. Thanks. So Castel del Sol is a paleoplacer, so we've got conglomerate hosted gold coming to surface, and that's what we've been chasing, and that's what our current resource and pre-feasibility study is all chasing. The geological model that we've built, that we've worked on, and now we're working with the AI, assumes that there is continuation at depth, but there's also interruption at depth from the intrusion of younger granite. So the deep model is what happened when the granite has intruded through the conglomerate. That should have remobilized the gold in that horizon and then hopefully reconcentrated it at depth. We see something similar in the literature that we've seen from Tarkwa, which is an analogous deposit in Ghana. So that's what we're chasing, and using the AI has allowed us to really target it through some fairly shallow drilling, like less than 300 meters, even though we call it the deep part, it's still fairly shallow. And we're drilling that right now.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Very good. Appreciate that. Okay. And let's go maybe to you for a second. And that's great discovery cost at $5 per ounce in terms of exploration. And y'all are actually pretty, how would you say the prospects for y'all are going into production and on that timeline? That's a pre-existing site before. So in terms of permitting, how do you see that progressing and with your different permitting agencies there?
Yeah, look, no question, Rolf, in the current environment, especially with what looks like a Democrat in the White House, we're going to be in a more favorable position with a brownfield site, an existing plan of operation, and some aspects of permitting. It will take us time. We'll come out with a PEA very shortly, and then be able to speak to timelines for a potential production decision. I expect that's in 2022, somewhere towards the end of 2022, that we can make that decision. But let us come out with a PEA and show you some numbers first.
Okay, excellent. And Gary, at Brixton, you've got 3 really nice big projects. And could you give us a little bit of color in terms of how you were able to bring in Robert Friedland on this last news release?
Sure, happy to, Ralph. And by the way, Brixton trades on the TSX Venture under the BBB ticker and on the OTCQB BBBXF. Yeah, look, Brixton has, as you mentioned, we have 4 assets that we, up till about 2015, we had 1 asset. And over the last few years, really in the bottom of the market, we've been able to assemble a nice portfolio. And part of our strategy was to see if we could find some partners on one or more of these assets. So it took some work. We've talked to a lot of companies, and I think they're one of the groups that really stuck with it. We met them back in around Roundup earlier this year, and they started digging into the data. And I think what they recognized, what maybe most people didn't appreciate, were the younger Eocene rifting and porphyry style mineralization that we're seeing there on surface. Most of the historical work was focused around the high-grade silver and oxide mineralization, and there was a mine plan and a feasibility study based on oxide material. But I think HPX and obviously we recognize the potential for some much stronger porphyry style mineralization at depth. So I think that's what really attracted Robert Friedland and HPX to the Hog Heaven project, as the opportunity to make a new discovery in a place like northwest Montana, which mainly resides on private lands. So no BLM or Forest Service to have to wrestle down on the permitting side. And we do have a fully permitted mine plan from the previous operators when they were going to build the mine.
Okay, excellent, Gary. Thank you. And let's go over to Arturo at Magna. And Arturo, you mentioned, I guess, a little bit of a teaser with the silver properties that y'all are putting together. Is that going to be, do you anticipate that would be a spin out at some point, or do you think that would be like a core part of the company?
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. The work we're doing now is assembling all the properties. That was our basic activity. We have completed a portfolio of silver properties. We will announce 2 more in the following days. What will we do with those? We are still thinking about it. It may be a spin out. It may not be one. It all depends on what our board and our shareholders, big shareholders that we have, make a decision on.
Okay, thank you. We'll be looking forward to that, because that's can be a real value creator, whether it's a spin out or whether it's just the new asset gets recognized by the market.
Totally agree, yes. And by the way, our trading symbols are on the TSXV is MGR, and on the OTC markets, OTCQB, it's MGLQF. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Frank, back to you on this one right here. Or?
Thank you, Ralph. And I want to thank all of the CEOs and these of our Expo of these junior mining companies we've invested in to embrace the 20 seconds, 20 second slide for 20 slides, the PechaKucha model. It just means that you're right up there with hundreds of thousands of other young, like-minded thinkers around the world that embrace this. And I hope that process will also bring in new people, new investors looking at this space, which we remain very, very bullish on. Gordon, I don't have anything else to share, but I want to just thank you, Gordon, for your team of putting on an outstanding job of helping brand these companies.
Frank, appreciate that. One comment I want to make, because I've seen this a couple of different places, is your choosing of this presentation really fits to that new retail investor that is, coming onto the market. A young man in Vancouver, Ivan Lowe, did a report about 2 months now about the return of the individual investor. And you look at the Robinhood and the millions of new customers that they're attracting and opening accounts, and the Schwabs and all the other, online brokers. And as my daughter, who's a 30-year-old investor, pointed out, is that, she doesn't have access like you do and Ralph does and many of the executives here, to get access to brokerage research, all sorts of information. They don't have it. So they're going onto the internet, like, looking at this broadcast. But I think you've nailed it, Frank, with that 6 minute, 40 second. I can't wait till I can do a presentation that short. Never usually happens. At any rate, so if nobody else has any other questions, I'd like to suggest it be a wrap. But if somebody has any other last minute deals, I think this has been a great forum. I think we've got a record attendees. So I'll open it up to you guys. Otherwise, Frank, I'll let you call it a wrap when we're there.
Well, and thank you, Holly, and the marketing team at US Global for helping collaborate and cooperate with Gordon and his team. Everyone's done an outstanding job on short notice, and it's great to see collaboration like this. Thank you. Happy investing.
Thank you.